Hey guys, this is Drax, and finally we have a balance update on Star Wars Battlefront 2. How does the game feel now? Well, let's check out the changes and I'll let you know what I think. They've also included some new additions in this update, so let's check them out here first. You can now play Blast on Crate. The inside of the abandoned outpost along those crystal caves is perfect for this mode, so it definitely made sense for this to be a Blast map. It works quite well, and it's nice to be able to use the tunnels for flanks, which you can't do so well in Galactic Assault as it has those zones, so I think that's a good addition right there. Next up, Iden Versio's TIE Fighter is now available as a hero ship for the villains in Starfighter Assault. It comes with an afterburner, a laser barrage, dual proton torpedoes, and an Inferno Leader ability that reveals enemies to friendly players and makes those enemies receive more damage. Her ship does of course come with its own set of star cards, and they've added some milestones for us to complete as well. So now let's move on to the balance changes, and during these clips you'll probably see that they've added a nighttime variation to the Mos Eisley map on Tatooine. I'm a big fan of time variations on maps as it's a simple change but it has a big effect on gameplay. So for hero changes here, we'll start with Finn, and the base damage of his EL-16 blaster has been reduced from 65 to 45, a big minus 20 there in damage. They've also reduced the time before the heat cooldown kicks in from 3.5 to 1.5 seconds, and reduced the damage of each Deadeye shot from 40 to 30. So he won't be putting out so much damage per shot now, but he'll be able to cool his weapon faster, meaning you'll be able to fire at a more consistent rate, putting out about the same damage over time. Boba Fett, and they reduced the damage per rocket of Rocket Barrage from 90 to 78. Reduced the inner damage radius for each rocket of Rocket Barrage from 2 to 1.5 meters, and the outer damage radius for each rocket of Rocket Barrage from 4 to 3 meters. So Boba Fett has been hit with another nerf, both reducing the damage and radius on that Rocket Barrage. I'm not really sure what to say about this one, but I think it might be a bit over the top. Phasma on the other hand got a buff, and they reduced the heat generated per shot on her F-11D blaster. This simply means that she can fire for longer. A good change here, but not the one we were expecting. No changes on her staff strikes here sadly. And finally, here in the hero changes for Lando, they fixed the bug where maximised efficiency was not properly granting cooldown reduction. So how about the classes and special units? Well, we'll start here with the infamous Wookiee Warrior. They reduced the bowcaster center projectile damage multiplier from 1.3 to 1, lowered fall off distance at the start from 20 to 10 meters and at the end from 30 to 25 meters. They've reshuffled the bowcaster explosive damage and projectile damage to make fall off have a higher effect, and they've increased the bowcaster heat per shot. It's pretty much a quad nerf for the Wookiee, but I have to be honest here, it doesn't feel too bad. I think the Wookiee will still do well a lot of the time. This is one of the better changes in this patch as it doesn't pit the Wookiee into an unusable state. It's still very good, just not as overpowered as it used to be. For the specialist, they've reduced the size of the scope glint, added scope glint to a few long range weapons including those for other classes and heroes, reduced the heat per shot for a few long range weapons, that being a few of the standard weapons that people normally struggle with, and increased the burst per minute of all infiltration variants from 100 to 130, so the infiltration ability is in a slightly better place now. Onto the heavy, and they've reduced the AoE of the supercharged and explosive sentries. The main nerf here being that they've increased the heat per shot for a supercharged sentry from 0.015 to 0.017, meaning the ability doesn't last as long. You can get about 3 kills before it overheats and goes into cooldown. Not a change I personally wanted to see on this ability, but I'll be interested to see what you guys think. And finally, for classes on the officer, they reduced the explosive damage when a deployed turret is destroyed by blaster fire from 150 to 25. So now let's move on to weapons, and starting here with the CR2, they've lowered the start damage from 17 to 16, lowered the end damage from 9 to 8, reduced the damage fall off end distance from 40 to 30 meters, so all in all it's a straight nerf for the CR2 there, making it not as strong in all scenarios. On the barrage ability for the heavy, they've reduced the inner blast radius from 3.5 to 2 meters, increased the outer blast radius from 5 to 6 meters, and increased explosive damage from 55 to 100. So a few tweaks there that change up the barrage ability, possibly giving more people an incentive to use it. But a more interesting one for most of us here will be the Blurg 1120. They reduced the fall off start distance from 20 to 15 meters, reduced start damage of explosive shot from 29 to 26, and damage of explosive shot from 10 to 8, inner blast radius of explosive shot from 0.8 to 0.7 meters, and outer blast radius of explosive shot from 2 to 1.8 meters. And finally, they reduced the accuracy of the final shots when the burst mod is equipped. So a few nerfs there just to make this weapon more balanced when it comes to using the explosive shot and that burst mod attachment. And the final change in this balance update is to the trip mines on the specialist. They've increased the number of mines that can be deployed at the same time from 1 to 2, raised the time until the mines disappeared after death from 5 to 15 seconds. The mines probably weren't being used that much before, so with this change I guess it's simply to attract players into using them. There's also been some stability improvements, the game feels pretty smooth for me right now, and they've done a few bug fixes here and there. So a good start I guess from DICE, but to tell the truth, I was hoping for a bit more in this one. I'm glad we got some new additions, I wasn't expecting that, but in the same way I wasn't expecting them to both over-nerf stuff and not change some things at all. I mean, Boba Fett got hit with another nerf, whilst Palpatine, who is far more dominant, will continue to wreck in nearly every game. ATSTs didn't get touched, Chewie didn't get any tweaks, Luke remains the same, and Iden Versio didn't get any health buffs. There are also plenty of other balance changes that I am disappointed not to see in this one. The CR2, Blurg and Wookiee Warrior changes are probably the best of the lot, as they have tweaked the values a bit without ruining their overall usability. As said by Sledgehammer70, the community manager, this is the first of many changes to come, so hopefully we won't have to wait too long before we get to see some more. But anyway guys, that is the video. Let me know what you think of the update, best and worst changes in the comments. As always, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.